Good morning, America. New this morning, survivors of that church massacre speaking out, revealing the gunman's chilling words, saying everybody dies, as he opened fire on the congregation. How playing dead helped one woman stay alive, and the bullet-ridden cell phone that helped save a mother's life. And now, the Air Force admitting a major mistake that allowed the gunman to buy the weapons he used in his rampage.
Breaking overnight, President Trump strikes a new tone with North Korea as he touches down with the First Lady in South Korea. The president calls on North Korea to go to the table, make a deal, and dines with American troops, making a new promise to them this morning.
Bombshell new accusations against Harvey Weinstein. The movie mogul reportedly going to extraordinary lengths to keep his secrets, hiring former spies to gather information on his accusers, including Rose McGowan. Now the reporter who broke the story is here live.
And security breach. A man caught on camera jumping onto a baggage belt at Miami International, running across the tarmac before quick-thinking workers tackled him. Now the investigation, how did he get through so easily?
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
Good morning, America. Welcome back this Tuesday morning. It has already been a busy Tuesday for President Trump in South Korea. We're going to show you right there. There he is with the South Korean president making some interesting, provocative comments about North Korea, suggesting the possibility of a deal. A lot going on for the president today.
And just before that meeting with the South Korean president, the president dined with our troops over there. There he is, sitting in the mess hall with the soldiers.
So we will have much more on the president's trip just ahead. But first, we want to get to those new details about the deadly church shooting in Texas. This morning, there are serious questions about how the gunman was able to buy firearms despite his history of domestic violence.
And we're hearing now from the survivors who made it out of that shooting alive. Our senior national correspondent Matt Gutman spoke with them. He starts us off in Sutherland Springs. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, George. We knew the slaughter in that church behind me was bloody, but what we didn't know until now was how methodical Devin Kelley went about doing it. Those survivors describing him walking back and forth from the altar to the back of the church, selecting targets, firing, reloading, doing it again. Many of them only saw his boots, and they say he said one thing: everybody is going to die. This morning, the scale of the horror inside that shoebox-sized church, shocking even to investigators.
I can tell you that the scene in there is horrific.
And for the first time, survivors described the terror as a murderer stalked the house of worship.
People screaming and people crying and, "Mama, where are you, Mama?" The little kids.
Roseanne Solis was discharged from the hospital late Monday, arriving home into the embrace of family members.
I saw bodies with a lot of blood. That's all I saw because I wasn't about to get out from where I was hiding.
Was anybody trying to get away? Was there anywhere to go?
No, there wasn't nowhere to go.
Solis said the shooter's only words were, "Everybody dies."
Did you play dead?
Yes, I did. I played dead, and I made sure that I hid myself good under that bench.
This morning, Farida Brown and 13 other victims remain hospitalized. We spoke to her son, David.
She just laid on the floor. The shooter was shooting any and everybody he could see. I guess everybody trying to run. And then after nobody was moving, they just laying on the floor. He walked up and down all the aisles shooting everybody as they laid on the floor.
How many times do you think he went up and down?
She said about 10 to 15 times.
Brown telling us his mom's now bullet-pocked cell phone likely saved her life. Among the murdered, 8 members of a single family, the Holcombs. Associate Pastor Brian was one of them, seen here speaking at the church 2 weeks earlier.
If you're in Christ Jesus, you have a ministry.
But more may have died had it not been for Stephen Williford, who opened fire on the suspect after he fled the church.
People at that church, they're friends of mine, their family. And every time I heard a shot, I knew that that probably represented a life. I was scared to death. I'm no hero. I am not. I think my God, my Lord, protected me and gave me the skills to do what needed to be done. And I just wish I could have gotten there faster.
Johnny Langendorf, who chased the suspect along with Williford, showing our David Muir video he shot on his cell phone during the last moments of the shooter's life.
So you can see the police moving in right there.
Yes. Just over that left divider, they would find the killer dead. And overnight, those two heroes seeing each other for the first time since the shooting, falling into an embrace. Now, this is a community of 650 people. Obviously, the loss of 26 lives is causing it to reel, but the real gut punch here is the loss of that Holcomb family we just mentioned. 3 generations gone. Grandparents, parents, and 4 grandchildren. And when you talk to folks here, they say what really angers them is that Devin Kelley should never have been allowed to buy those weapons in the first place. Robin.
Matt, that is what we're going to discuss right now. The demand for answers after that Air Force bombshell that they didn't tell the FBI about the gunman's history of domestic violence, enabling him to purchase those weapons he used in the rampage. Our senior justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, has more. Joins us from Washington. Good morning, Pierre.
Robin, good morning. There's no soft way to put it. The killer should never have been able to buy the assault rifle used to massacre all those people.
In April of 2016, Devin Kelley walked into this Academy Sports and Outdoor store in San Antonio and bought a Ruger assault rifle. A background check was done on the purchase. It came back clean, and the sale of the weapon used to kill all those parishioners went forward. It should have never happened.
And there was no prohibitive information in the systems that we checked that say that he could not have purchased that firearm.
In these new documents obtained by ABC News, military prosecutors outlined the details of Kelley's dark past. The court records show the former airman pleaded guilty to repeatedly punching, kicking, and choking his then wife. And another shocking charge. He's accused of striking his infant stepson on the head and body with a force likely to produce death or grievous bodily harm. As part of the pleading, the court-martial dropped charges. He pointed a loaded gun at his wife on multiple occasions. Kelley's conviction should have banned him from being able to buy the rifle. But last night, the Air Force admitted they never forwarded information about the conviction to the FBI, which maintains the database used for those background checks.
We've got to get to the bottom of why that did not happen. And yes, there are a lot of questions the Air Force has to answer on that.
This morning, investigators searching for some of those answers in this tiny church and the staggering aftermath of Kelley's rampage.
A substantial amount of evidence, physical evidence, has been collected, including hundreds of shell casings, more than 15 magazines, 30-round capacity magazines have been recovered.
And new insight into a possible motive. Again, allegations of domestic violence, with police suggesting that Kelley may have gone to the church to hunt his mother-in-law, who allegedly received threatening text messages from the killer.
There are many ways that he could have taken care of the mother-in-law without coming with 15 loaded magazines and an assault rifle to a church. I think he came here with a purpose and a mission.
While Kelley may have been after his mother-in-law, there's evidence that everyone in the house of worship was a target. Authorities have now studied video from inside that church. One official telling ABC News the gunman came to the church to, quote, kill everyone in that building, period. He was a mass killer of children. He's a horrible monster, end quote. Guys?
And Pierre, how does the military know there aren't others out there who haven't been flagged and could be out there right now?
Michael, we don't know if there are other cases like this falling through the cracks. The military is launching an investigation to make sure there are not more mistakes like this. All the services will be studied. Michael, guys.
Thank you, Pierre.
Good to know. Now to the latest on President Trump's trip to Asia. The president and first lady arriving in South Korea overnight, meeting with troops and sending a new message to North Korea as the country promises to nuclear power. Our chief White House correspondent, John Carl, is in Seoul with more. Good morning, John.
Not long ago, the president called talking to North Korea a waste of time. Not anymore.
I really believe that it makes sense for North Korea to come to the table and to make a deal that's good for North Korea and the people of the world.
He's not ruling out military action, but the president is acknowledging the steep cost of war on the Korean peninsula.
We sent 3 of the largest aircraft carriers in the world, and they're right now positioned. We have a nuclear submarine also positioned. We have many things happening that we hope, in fact, I'll go a step further, we hope to God we never have to use.
Meeting with South Korea's president just 35 miles from the North Korean border, the president has ditched the bellicose rhetoric about North Korea. No more taunting of rocket man Kim Jong-un, no talk of fire and fury. Instead, hope for diplomatic progress.
I do see certain movement, yes, but let's see what happens.
In his first visit here as president, he was welcomed by South Korea's President Moon, who took office earlier this year, urging a less confrontational approach to dealing with Kim Jong-un. The president's newly diplomatic and hopeful tone was also on display at Camp Humphreys, a joint U.S.-South Korean military outpost not far from the border with North Korea.
Ultimately, it'll all work out, because it always works out, has to work out.
Even as the president talked up diplomacy, he seemed to surprise South Korea's president by saying that South Korea would soon be buying billions of dollars in U.S.-made weapons. There were no arms sales that were announced, but the president predicted that they would come and they would bring lots of American jobs. Robin?
We'll see. All right, John, thank you.
Okay, we're going to get the latest now on the Russia investigation. Revelations from former campaign advisor Carter Page and several hundred pages of testimony before the House Intelligence Committee. He details contacts with Russians on a trip to Moscow and what he told several other campaign officials about those contacts before and after the trip. Our congressional correspondent Mary Bruce is on Capitol Hill with the details. And Mary, this blows apart the Trump campaign denials of any contact with Russians during the campaign.
George, this testimony is certainly raising a lot of questions about those previous denials. During 7 hours of testimony here on the Hill, it became clear that senior members of the Trump team knew about a 2016 trip that Carter Page made to Moscow, and that Page may have had more interactions with Russian officials than he previously disclosed. At the time, Page sent an email to fellow Trump aides in which he said that during the trip, he'd been provided with, quote, incredible insights and outreach by Russian lawmakers and senior members of Putin's administration.
And Mary, several months back, I talked to Carter Page about that trip, and here's what he said. There's also a lot of focus on this trip you took to Russia last July. You met with Russian academics, you've said. You also met with people in the business community. Did you meet with anyone in the Russian government or connected to Russian intelligence?
I said hello briefly to one individual who is a board member of the new economic school where I gave my speech.
And Mary, we now know who that official is.
Yeah, George, we now know that the official he was referring to was actually the Russian deputy prime minister. At the time, Page wrote that he, quote, expressed strong support for Mr. Trump and a desire to work together toward devising better solutions in response to a vast range of current international problems. Now, George, Page still insists that this was just a brief interaction and says he learned about the Russian deputy prime minister's views through media coverage and his public remarks.
Okay, Mary Bruce, thanks very much.
And George, as we know, it is Election Day. Some big races across the country. The highest stakes in Virginia, where both President Trump and former President Obama have weighed in on the battle for governor. Our chief national correspondent, Tom Yamas, is there at a polling station in Fairfax. And Tom, this race, as we know, is tight, and some Democrats are concerned they could lose a state that Hillary Clinton won.
Robin, that's exactly right. As you mentioned, the voting is now underway here in Virginia, and so many are watching this race because many people believe this is going to be a bellwether for the midterm elections next year. The ads in this race have gotten very aggressive, as have the president's tweets. Now, the president tweeted this morning from Seoul about the Democrat in this race, who we should mention is a veteran. Here's what the president tweeted. Let's put it up there on the screen. He tweeted, "Ralph Northam will allow crime to be rampant in Virginia. He's weak on crime, weak on our great vets, anti-Second Amendment." So why does President Trump care so much about this governor's race here in Virginia? It's because, as you mentioned, he lost this state. It's the only southern state he lost, and he knows if the Republicans win today, it'll be a great sign.
In Virginia, the tight race for governor pitting Democrat and current Lieutenant Governor Ralph Northam against Republican Ed Gillespie. Gillespie, who ran the Republican National Committee and has promised to keep up Confederate monuments, chose not to appear with President Trump on the campaign trail, something he didn't want to discuss overnight.
Is there a reason why you didn't campaign with the president?
And with this race so close, both sides have used scare tactics in their political ads. The Latino Victory Fund, a liberal PAC, had to take down this ad depicting minority children running from a Gillespie supporter in a pickup truck with a Confederate flag. Gillespie fired back with his own ad, criticizing Northam for supporting restoring voting rights to felons, including a suspected child pornographer.
I'm a pediatrician, and for Ed Gillespie to say I would tolerate anyone hurting a child is despicable.
So clearly this race has gotten very heated. The last time a Republican won statewide office here in Virginia was 2009, so a win for Ed Gillespie, the Republican, would be huge for the GOP. Guys, back to you.
Many will be watching. All right, thank you.
And we have new details now on that bizarre attack on Kentucky Senator Rand Paul that left him with 5 fractured ribs and bruised lungs. The longtime neighbor now facing charges. And this morning, getting a better sense of what may have sparked that feud. Lindsay Janice is here with the story. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, Michael. The senator's senior advisor is calling the incident a serious criminal matter. But a lawyer for the senator's neighbor is downplaying the dispute, saying it was over something most people would consider trivial. This morning, the reason behind the confrontation between Senator Rand Paul and his neighbor of 17 years, a mystery. The Republican senator telling police he was mowing his lawn in Bowling Green, Kentucky, Friday afternoon, when 59-year-old Rene Boucher allegedly came onto his property, tackling him from behind. Paul suffering 5 broken ribs and lung contusions. The two men live in a wealthy gated community, their properties side by side along a small lake. Boucher, a retired anesthesiologist and pain specialist who invented the Thermavest to treat back pain. A neighbor who says he's known both men for years, telling ABC News the two had a lot of political differences. But in a telephone interview, Boucher's lawyer denying it was politically motivated.
That is absolutely and unequivocally untrue. It's just a very, very hugely regrettable incident that would not happen again in a million years.
He was charged with 4th-degree assault. Kentucky police now assessing if further charges are warranted.
If we receive medical records, that will help the Commonwealth attorney to ascertain whether this was a serious physical assault or the simple assault in the 4th degree, which was a misdemeanor.
The FBI is looking into whether the assault may have been politically motivated, but this morning some reports now suggesting it may have been over landscaping.
That's one heck of an argument.
It sure is, man. Those injuries are serious.
Yeah.
They are.
All right, thank you, Lindsay. And we're going to go to Ginger with the weather. And Ginger, say it ain't so. It's getting cold out.
You got to stop saying winter is coming and just say winter is here. Look at these images. I know, Cheyenne, Wyoming, almost 3 inches of snow. Up in some of the mountain areas, 30 inches of snow. Fort Collins, Colorado, that snow is flying. And guys, it's not just the cold or the snow. It is the cold. That Arctic air that has been held up there by that jet stream that has been that fence that keeps it up there. It's breaking down. And by Friday into Saturday, look at Minneapolis. Sees its coldest temperatures since last March at 16. These are actual air temperatures. 22 in Chicago. First freeze will happen from Washington, D.C. through Philly and New York City. Tuesday Trivia now, brought to you by Walgreens.
Happy Thanksgiving!
Thanks for giving Leanne the strength to outrun her brother. Thanks for giving Victor the energy to be the rowdiest fan. And Joseph, the ability to see monsters. When you choose Walgreens, you choose to make a difference. Like how every vitamin and flu shot you get at Walgreens helps give life-changing vitamins and vaccines to children in need around the world and here at home. So really,
Happy Thanksgiving!
Walgreens, at the corner of happy and healthy.
And a very good morning, meteorologist Brian Vandergraff. Election day in Virginia, polls open throughout the morning and into the afternoon for that matter. But as far as voting, earlier on, it's gray and cool. The showers roll in here. Probably this afternoon could be some heavier pockets of rain. So if you don't want to be encumbered by the rain for your election duties, head out early. Do your civic duty, get out there and vote. Tomorrow, just a few spotty showers. Notice this cool blast of air Wednesday into Thursday, Friday, late week for Veterans Day. Highs only in the 40s. Could see a freeze even downtown.
I got a lot of booze for that cold, so I'm going to show you something that makes you, that's Colorado Springs. Below that mountain level, you can see the clouds and the fog. We're just rolling like an ocean. That's a time lapse. Gorgeous, right?
Cool. We much prefer that.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Ginger, so much. Coming up, the new report on Harvey Weinstein, the stunning lengths he allegedly went to keep his secrets, even hiring former spies. Now, the reporter who broke the explosive story is here live.
We're going to give you a warning about fake apps. You got to see this. It could affect the way you protect your information.